Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Joseph, and today on PlayStation News we're going to talk about the PS6 chip being ready, and it seems like we're going to hear about PS6 really soon. Uh, Also, there's the fallout from the stuff that we talked about last week with Sony canceling two live service games, including Sony Bend and Bluepoint. There's also a new report saying that PC games seem to be doing a lot more in terms of growth and sales than console games. And in the same report, there's also what the analyst said, hopes for GTA6 to be priced at $100. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing for more PlayStation news videos like this. And with that, let's start with our first story that has to do with the PS6, and it seems like we're gonna be hearing about it really soon, or at least in the same timeline that we're used to for Sony consoles. So this story is coming from WCCF Tech and apparently is from AMD leaker Kepler L2, who was commenting on the NeoGAF forums. And what he says is that the design for the SoC, which is the system on chip for the PS6, which is the main board for the console, is currently in pre-silicon validation already. And what this means is that pre-silicon is the last process that the silicon has to go through, like emulation and some other tools to test that the device is working properly before they send it to build it physically in doing the massive production for the SoC. And they also have some sort of final test, which is called A0 tape out, and that's scheduled for later this year according to this leaker. And it seems like he's a trusted leaker. He has been writing in the past with several stories. Now this final design it seems like when Sony does this A0 tape out, it seems like we can expect the console about 2 years after that. So if it's scheduled for later this year, that means we could be hearing or getting PS6 in about late 2027. So if we are gonna follow the path that Sony did with PS5, we got some very early details from a Wired article with Mark Cerny talking in an interview there, and that was in early 2019. That was 6 years after the PS4 launch. And after that, they talk about a little bit more about the stuff that we could be getting in terms of improvements and all of that, sorts the haptic feedback and the adaptive triggers and all of that additional details. They talk about that in October 2019. Then we got the logo at CES 2020, and the console came out in November 2020. So following that, we could be starting to hear about PS6 about during next year. We could be hearing about what Sony is planning to do, and what the rumors say is they do want to release a console, but also a handheld. It seems like a handheld is going to be part of the goal for these companies in some sort of race to compete against Nintendo and the new PC handhelds that have been launching recently. So, and the console could be launching by probably November 2017. Now, another thing that Kepler L2 said is that the PlayStation 6 GPU is going to be a fork of AMD Graphics 13, which is their new RDNA architecture and RDNA 5 architecture, and that's going to be called UDNA. So it's something that we still don't have a lot of info until AMD reveals what that new technology will be like. So it will likely be what powers PS6, because we already knew that both AMD and Intel were in some sort were betting to have their technology on PS6, and it was AMD who who won that contract in the end. So yeah, it seems like we're gonna be starting to hear about the new console next year, and again probably a release by late 2027. So I don't know. I think we again, the PS5 came out in 2020, and it seems like it just came out. Like that period between 2019 to 2022, it seems like it didn't happen. It's kind of weird, and we also it was also kind of like it seems like we haven't seen the real power of the PS5 so far, because at the beginning there was a lot of cross-platform releases like Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok, and like that doesn't mean that they didn't look great, but they were still games that could run on PS4. And we started getting some things from Sony, at least with Spider-Man 2, and there were other like Demon's Souls at launch that is only PS5. But yeah, it seems like the console is starting to hit its stride. Like there's like this year, for example, there's a lot of third-party developers that are releasing games on PS5 and Xbox Series only. And it seems like they are starting to move away from those cross-platform releases. So yeah, it feels like the PS5 has never started, and we're yet to see that promise. And again, there are great games for it. There we had last year Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and there's a lot of stuff that is great looking on PS5 and now PS5 Pro. And it also doesn't help that development times for games are now even longer than ever, like more than 5 years. So we haven't seen many games from like the marquee developers from Sony, like Sucker Punch and Naughty Dog, and they have just been revealed, and we haven't gotten them because they released their latest games by the end of the PS4, and we are still yet to receive those games from them in now Ghost of Yotei this year, and who knows, Intergalactic maybe next year or 2027. It's likely gonna repeat again that they are gonna be launching games by the tail end of the PS5 generation, and those games are likely gonna be remastered for PS6 or... But yeah, it seems like we're getting PS6 or starting to hear about PS6 next year, 2026, and the console is gonna be out by 2027. So let me know what you guys think about PS6 being like this close. Is kind of like the same that we have had with previous consoles, 6 years before we start hearing about it, and then 7 years before the new console. After the previous console, then we have the new console. So let me know what you guys think. If you like that we are getting PS6 like really soon, or do you think that we still need to see more from PS5? So let me know about that in the comments. Now let's move to something similar, and it's the fallout of the story that we talked about last week regarding two cancellations from Sony Bend and also Bluepoint Games. And the game that Bluepoint was making was a God of War live service game. And I said that last week, I said that I didn't know how like a God of War live service or multiplayer game would be, and I completely forgot about Ascension. But yeah, if people don't remember that there was a multiplayer game in Ascension, that tells you how much like people care about a multiplayer game for God of War. That multiplayer mode was sort of kind of like a battle arena where you could get like favors from gods, and there were two teams like Spartans and Trojans fighting each other, and you could get like different skills from depending on which god you asked favors from. I remember that I only got there to get the platinum that I needed before the online servers were shut down, and so that I could get the platinum for Ascension without having to worry about that. But I digress. Now let's continue with the cancellations of those games. So we had news from Jeff Grubb on his Game Mess Mornings podcast. He said last week that those cancellations have to do with Concord, unsurprising, because of how huge the failure for Concord was, and like closing that game in just like a week. So what Jeff Grubb said last week, he said that this happened because of Concord. Like, this should be clear. That's what I have been told. And again, I quote, Sony is shell-shocked from Concord, and now they are going around to every studio and they are reassessing every single project. And if it's a live service project, it has a lot of friction going against it, preventing it from getting a chance to actually come out. So it seems like Sony is not willing to, after like having 12 games in the pipeline, 12 live service games that they wanted to launch by 2026, it seems like they are so scared that they don't want to hear the word live service. So Jeff Grubb continues saying that, and it is almost certain that they won't be able to get a green light on a live service project, and they know that. So developers, it seems like they're gonna have a hard time pitching something new to Sony. What he said is that it was easier when they wanted to push for live services, because they could like pitch a live service game and they would have all the Sony support behind it, but now it's kind of unclear what kind of games Sony wants. It seems like they are on this sort of creative crisis as to what they want to do. Now there's other information that Jeff Grubb said, and it seems there was some sort of rumor that these project cancellations, both Sony Bend and Bluepoint Games heard about them as they were announced on Bloomberg. What Jeff Grubb said, and I quote, is that I looked into this a little bit, and yeah, all this is true. The two studios found out at the same time as everyone else, so people will be going to work today wondering, hey, okay, so what are we going to be doing next? And that they are going to have, and what they are going to have to do next, very likely, is pitch something to Sony, and the landscape of that has changed pretty drastically. A couple of years ago, you would bring down a PlayStation your pitch, that is, it's a live service game. We know you want to hear that. And can we use the God of War IP? We know that you want to hear that. And then they would give the green light to the developer, and they would get the budget and the funding so they can grow their studio, hire more people, and have more people working safe on that project. And now, after these cancellations, like out of the 12 games that they wanted to do, 8 of them are cancelled. One of them is out, which is Helldivers 2, and the other 3 are still in development. So what Grubb says is that now they have to go back to the drawing board and come up with a pitch that PlayStation wants to hear, when no one really knows what they want to hear, so it's a rough situation. Now, that rumor was kind of shut down. The fact that the developers learned as everyone else learned when Bloomberg ran the story. And we have Jason Schreier from Bloomberg saying on Blue Sky that I have seen the story getting a lot of traction on Reddit today, but it's not true. People across the organization were informed before my article went out last week. So they did know that their games were cancelled, and it was not something that they read on Bloomberg and that's it. Which would have made things even worse. Like, you are not telling your developers, you are not trusting them with this kind of news. It would be like really awful from Sony. But still, even if that part is not true, maybe the other stuff is it could be real, that Sony is like they don't know what else they want to do. It seems like they want to go back to like the roots of doing single player stuff. Maybe they are still keeping some live services, but minimal. they likely realized that 12 live service games from studios that have worked on single player stuff was very ambitious. Like, you have Bluepoint Games, which is known for doing remakes and remasters, and having them do a live service God of War, like, I don't know, it's kind of crazy. You have Naughty Dog, that they have done some multiplayer stuff in the past, but live service is a completely different beast. So yeah, if like, again, as I said, if some of those like big name IPs have not been able to survive, I fear for what could happen to stuff like Fair Games. And there's other projects from Bungie as well that are like the last ones. So yeah, we're gonna touch a little bit about that later in this section. But now there's been some word from the developers, and this was Kevin McAllister, who is the community manager for Sony Bend. So he tweeted this post that you can see here, and he said that, "I'll keep this short. Thanks for the love and support for everyone, especially to those that have reached out. We still plan on creating some cool shit." Now, Sony Bend was like really excited with this project. They previously said that this was going to be like their best game ever, and something that would take Sony Bend to like the next generation. If we remember, they even showed the new logo and all of that. And it sucks to see all of that work go to waste for both studios, for Sony Bend and also for Bluepoint. Like, they did Days Gone. Sony was not happy with that, which was a single player game, and now they work on something that they wanted to do, like Sony wanted them to do, and now it's also like it doesn't work either. So who knows what they will go, like what else they will go to do next. I was saying that maybe they will go back to doing Days Gone, but like, one of the things that Sony was not sure about Days Gone is that they also had The Last of Us running at the same time, which is like the same style of the same thought, the same theme, not the same style of gameplay. I don't want to imply that. The same theme about zombies and all of that. Now that The Last of Us is like has finished, but there's rumors of a part 3. Maybe they can go back to that, or I don't know, who knows. Again, Sony is in some sort of like creative crisis, and who knows if they are going to go back to their roots and do more single player stuff while keeping. I was saying that they should probably focus on less live service, but provide more content for them. If you look at the most successful live service games, which are Call of Duty and Fortnite, you only have one game, and I know that Call of Duty gets a game annually, but you usually have the suite of multiplayer stuff that you get, for example, in Warzone, and that gets updated constantly, and that's how they are like really successful. And that meant that Activision had to sacrifice their own studios and like put them to work only on Call of Duty stuff. And they haven't been able to work on other stuff, like some of their other studios that worked on Spider-Man previously, like Vinox, for example. Has been put on hostage working on Call of Duty stuff since then. Now, there's another point that I want to bring here, and it was an article from PlayStation Lifestyle that references an article on Reddit, or a post on Reddit, that someone, like, it seems like fans are worried about what's next for these studios and all of their studios, and even all of the acquisitions from Sony. So Sony Bend and Bluepoint, what Sony said last week in the report is that they are gonna remain open, but they didn't discard the possibility of layoffs, so there could be layoffs at both studios while they remain open. And yeah, what the post on Reddit was like listing some of the stuff that some of the acquisitions that Sony got recently have done. And what they said is like their most successfuls have been Housemarque and Nixxes Software. Housemarque with Returnal, which didn't move a lot of units, but Sony was happy with how it turned out. I think it was a little bit over 1 million or something like that what it sold, and I don't have I didn't look for the numbers, but I believe that that's what it was. Now Housemarque did Returnal in 2021 and is currently working on like their next IP. Nixes is their support studio, and they have been working on PC stuff. I think Nixes is their best acquisition by far. They have outside of Insomniac. Insomniac is their best one. They got Insomniac and they got all of the Spider-Man stuff, like with the support from Marvel and all of that. So I still think Insomniac, with all of the history that they have been working, is their best acquisition. But they're probably their second best is Nixes, with 9 PlayStation PC ports since they were acquired in 2021. So we have the Horizon 1 and 2. There's the remaster as well. Spider-Man 1 and 2 plus Miles Morales. They also did Ratchet and Clank, Ghost of Tsushima, and they are now doing The Last of Us 2. Bluepoint did Demon's Souls, but the article likely doesn't count that out because it was before they were acquired in 2021. So that project was they were working as an outsourced studio. And besides that, there's also Fire Sprite that they did Horizon Call of the Mountain, and well, we know that PlayStation VR 2 has not done like really great, and Horizon Call of the Mountain likely has not sold that much either. The rumor is that they might be doing a horror game, and that could be an Until Dawn 2, based on like we now have the remake and all of that. So there's that. Haven is doing Fair Games. I was saying that they could that I think that Sony could likely cancel Fair Games as well. But we'll see if that can find a space in the multiplayer and or in the multiplayer market. There's also Firewalk with Concord, and they were shut down already. Bungie brought like more issues to Sony than benefits so far, it seems. They had a lot of financial issues when they arrived, and they also had a lot of staff issues with people complaining about their management and all of that. There were also Destiny 2 problems that people wanted them to like cancel Destiny 2 stuff and move on to Destiny 3. But it seems like the last DLC did a lot for users to gain faith on the future of Destiny. Neon Koi was another studio that they got because they wanted to get into mobile games, and it was shut down in October last year. It never released anything. And then we also have Valkyrie Entertainment. It's another studio that was acquired recently, but that's more of a support studio, similar to what Nixes does. They helped, I believe, with God of War Ragnarok, so there's that. Now, if we remember, CFO Hiroki Totoki recently said that PlayStation has issues in terms of like the amount of money that they spend and the profitability of like all of those projects. And he was one that wanted like having single player projects to move console units, but also multiplayer stuff to be more profitable and gain more money for like from those projects. And with the development costs rising, they need additional fund, like to gain additional fundings from like these multiplayer games, so that they can cover the high costs from games like Spider-Man 2 being close to, I think, 300 million, and also we know that Horizon 2 and Last of Us 2 were above 200 million as well, and these costs are like still rising. So like who knows, like and with stuff being canceled like this, we don't know that what we are gonna get by the end of the PS5 generation. It seems like we have Intergalactic from Naughty Dog, Ghost of Yotei has Sucker Punch has Ghost of Yotei and Insomniac Wolverine. San Diego Studio is still pushing MLB every year, but all of the other studios are either working on something else, are going to be pitching new stuff. Like with how games take to make right now, and Sony Bend not doing a game this generation, it seems like we could be getting there like a new game in 2030, 2032. A game takes like 5 to 7 years to make these days, so it really sucks that it ended like this, and that's for Sony Bend. I hope that they can go back to doing something, I don't know, single player stuff. And for Bluepoint, like I don't know what they're like, maybe another remake or maybe a new IP like we kind of thought that they were working on. So yeah, it's rough. It's not looking great right now, but here's hoping that they can steer this ship back to how they were before. If it means that they're gonna bring back more single player stuff and keep some live service games to minimum not have 12 games or an ambition of 12 games to be released by a certain point. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about all of these issues with Sony canceling these two games, and what do you think of what the future lineup from first party kind of looks like right now. Let me know about that in the comments. Now we have some quick fire stories to go through, and we move to Astrobot, and it seems like Team Asobi is not done with Astrobot after releasing the speedrun DLCs that they release from October moving forward. They release 5 levels. They also released the Christmas level on December, but it seems like they are not done. And this was Shuhei Yoshida posting a photo on Instagram. Like he was given a jigsaw puzzle from Team Asobi after he left PlayStation after over 30 years of being with the company. But then Eagle Eye fans found that there are some bots that appear here in this jigsaw puzzle that are not in the game, and we have Jin and Heihachi from Tekken. So those two bots are not in the game, but like before we could start continue to speculate on when or what they could be releasing, they did actually show this new level. So this was the finals for the PlayStation XP tournament, and they had this new speedrun level that was used in the finals for to see who got the best time. So yeah, it seems we're gonna get a new wave of speedrun levels and more bots to discover and to find in these levels. So yeah, when it could be, I think it could be fairly close. I don't think it's gonna take much time for them to officially announce this. As of recording, they haven't announced that, and we only have what they showed at the PlayStation XP final. So we're gonna get more DLC for Astrobot. Happy about that. I'm still going through getting all of the bots and all of that to get the platinum. Still have to check all the DLC that the first speedrun levels that they released, but happy that they are releasing more Astrobot content. There's also an update, and it was a weird one about Silksong. So I believe that we haven't seen Silksong since 2022, then that was at the Xbox showcase. And at the time they said that they were revealing games that were going to be launching within the next 12 months. So people thought that if they were showing Hollow Knight Silksong, it would be released by June 2023, but that date came and went, and there was no updates about Hollow Knight. Now there was an update that director William Pellen tweeted last week, and he said that something big is coming and keep your eyes closed tomorrow. That tweet was reference to the Nintendo Switch being revealed last week with the reveal trailer that Nintendo dropped on Thursday. Now, the Reddit community went into this rabbit hole of like mystery and stuff from the director. It seems like he posted or he used an image for a chocolate cake as his profile picture, and then the Reddit community started digging, and it seems that like this image it belongs to a website called Bon Appetit, and the recipe was published on April 2nd, 2024. Now, April 2nd is the same day that Nintendo is going to have their Nintendo Direct focus on the Switch 2 games, or the games that we're gonna get at launch for the console. So it likely means that we're gonna be getting something for Hollow Knight at that Direct. But we'll see. We have like people have been hoping for this game to appear for a long time, and again, since 2022, it's been 2 years and we don't have any huge update on the game. So maybe at this Direct we'll likely get something. So the fans were kind of wondering if like, well, maybe the game is not real, maybe Hollow Knight is like the friends we met along the way. And we got another update from Matthew Griffin from Team Cherry, who said that yes, the game is real and is progressing and will release at some point. So likely we will hear about that on April 2nd at the Nintendo Switch Direct, and the game is coming at some point for all platforms, including PlayStation, PS4 and PS5. We also have some news regarding Star Wars Jedi Survivor and a new patch that EA released for PS5 Pro. So if we go back to October last year, Sony released the PS5 Pro, and there were some improvements in terms of graphical fidelity for games and performance. But there was an issue with PSSR, which is the kind of like this DLSS technology from Sony that uses AI to upscale games and improve the visual quality for them. And what Digital Foundry said in several analyses back then is that games like Silent Hill or Star Wars Jedi Survivor, I think even Alan Wake, had like a lot of artifacting and issues in like foliage, visual flickering. There was also issues with volumetric fog. So those issues, like some of those developers have been working on like releasing patches for that. We didn't know if it was like an issue that Sony had to patch in terms of like the PSSR or the console. I believe there was a patch for Silent Hill 2 that like there were some complaints by the community because it didn't improve the game that much. But it seems like EA for Star Wars, EA and Respawn have released a new update last week, and they say that it updates the game to the latest version of PSSR. It reduced foliage flickering and also improves reflection on visuals in Cobo River, and also reduced flickering in volumetric fog. So Digital Foundry has released a new analysis for this patch, and what they say is that it greatly improved resolution by doing like several tweaks, and it's not like it takes the source image and improves the game's resolution in that sense. It improves the image quality by doing several tweaks to what the image output is. So if you were playing this on PS5 Pro and were angry that it was not working properly, well, you can check this new update now. Now let's stick with EA, because it seems like there's some concern regarding Bioware and a new update from Dragon Age. So the game director for Dragon Age the Veilguard, Corinne Bosch, left Bioware last week after being with the studio for 18 years. Now, there's been speculation online if this was like an issue with EA, an issue with Bioware. Many people point out that the game didn't do that well in sales. So was something related to that. And what Bush said to Eurogamer on an interview is that, and I quote, "At the heart of it, this was about my own fulfillment. I did what I set out to do at Bioware, and this is to come in and help and right the ship. I love Dragon Age and Bioware, so the chance to return to the game to a proper quality single player RPG was the privilege of a lifetime. It was a hard fought, as games with such tumultuous dev cycles rarely end up shipping, and even more rarely turn out great. We as a team did it, and it was hard. It took a toll on me, and Bioware still has a lot of work to do culturally, but I do believe that they are on the right footing now. As for me, my departure was voluntary, as I have been presented with an opportunity I couldn't turn down. I don't want to say much more right now, but you can count on it being CRPG space and upholding the traditions of great characters." So she will continue working on RPGs, but didn't want to say like to spoil what their next project is. So it seems like it's unrelated it's unrelated to the performance of the game. Now, the game came out in October, and it only did like it managed to get up to 6th place in the Circana report of like the best-selling games in October. And it seems like after a month it had only done under 2 million. So obviously there's this there's people concerned about what this could mean for Bioware, and EA. We know that they have shut down studios like the studio that work on Dead Space and stuff like that. But it seems like this is not the case for Bioware. It seems like they are not going to be closed down or anything. This is not part of like an exodus that starts with the director and moves to all of the other people. Now, it doesn't discard that there could be layoffs, because if the game didn't sell, EA likely is gonna make cuts in some areas, and hopefully it doesn't end like that. But now this has made people questioning about what the future for Mass Effect is, and to that, director Michael Gamble jumped on Twitter saying that every week is a good week at work for me, and the Mass Effect producer Vernon Holmes knows. So again, it seems like Mass Effect 5 is fine for now, but again, with the volatility of the industry, you don't know. Well, at least the departure of the Dragon Age the Veilguard director is unrelated. So yeah, we'll see what happens with them. We also have some news regarding the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero DLC. It was announced last week. So it's gonna it includes 11 new characters, but it's more like 4. It has Gohan and, well, 4 variants of Gohan. It has 4 variants of Piccolo, and there's Gamma 1 and 2 and Cell Max. Now, it's available to Season Pass holders starting today. It's right now available for anyone who owns the Season Pass for the game, and everyone else who wants them to buy them piecemeal or doesn't own the Season Pass. You can get these characters starting this January 23rd. And there's also going to be like a new costume, and also 3 custom like battle scenes, I think. They're gonna be talking about DLC 2 and 3 soon. It's going to be focused on Dragon Ball Daima, so we'll see when they have to announce this. I'm not really a fan. I'm not that much into fighting games. Like when they release, I usually get them later, like mostly to catch up with the story. But this business thing that they do now, that they release DLC characters first or in early access for Season Pass owners and later for everyone else, I'm not really a fan of that. At least I'm not huge into fighting games, as I said. But yeah, we'll see. Now, moving to another Bandai game and another fighting game as well. There was some rumor that Tekken producer Katsuhiro Harada was gonna leave Bandai Namco, and this is because he posted on his LinkedIn profile, he changed his own picture with the open to work tag in both like the image and like the tag that you can add to your profile. This was brought up by Twitter user GenkiJPN, who said that, well, maybe he's leaving the company. He said that he's open to work, but then Harada tweeted this saying that you don't have to worry about it. It's him meeting people on a regular basis, and he wants to meet more people and work with other developers and other companies to expand his horizon in the future, and it has to do with either game stuff or private stuff that and any other ventures that he could have. So he's not leaving Bandai Namco, or at least for now, and this is unrelated to any of that. So it was something that gained some traction online that he was gonna leave, and it's not anything like that. So we'll see what happens and what other projects we're gonna get from Katsuhiro Harada in the future. But still, they are working on more DLC for Tekken 8, so we'll see about that. Moving on, we have some details about the new Tomb Raider remaster 426 that is going to be releasing on February 14 for all platforms. So Aspire Media has been like re-releasing stuff. They did Soul River last, I think it was October, November. No, sorry, it was on December. So they released that there, and now they are focusing on the next Tomb Raider remaster. And they released a new trailer last week showing like the boss fights and all of that you can from like the game. It's not a beloved trilogy, I believe. This second half, I think that like the best games from the Tomb Raider series were like the first three, or at least or first four, at least of the classic series. And I loved like the most recent ones, the ones that were like with Square Enix, that started with Square Enix. So besides this trailer, they also shared that well, the game, as we already knew, you're gonna be able to switch between classic and remastered visuals. But in terms like the controls, they shared that you are gonna be able to switch between the tank and the modern controls, that are gonna be able to are gonna have Lara like be more responsive and feel more intuitive. They recommend a lot playing with the modern controls instead of the tank ones. There's also Cordis, the other character that appears in Angel of Darkness. He will be able to wield his blade and can now use a psychic shield that he can use against bosses. And besides that, he also has the same movements as Lara, like sprinting, and can also shoot from the corners. There were also some other changes in terms of like there was a training area that was like the Parisian back streets, and that was in Angel of Darkness. So like people like the area is now restored, and people can decide if they want to go through this training area and when they are moving through that level. There's other changes in regard to like the Daniel pawn shop in Angel of Darkness. Like previously you could sell stuff, but it wasn't like much helpful, and it now works as a full store. You can buy weapons and accessories from the store. And same with the Willow Tree Herbalist, another character from another store on Angel of Darkness, that is going to be a fully functional store. You can buy like any healing items. Besides all these new changes, it's going to reuse or bring previous voice lines that were not used in the original, that add a few more hints toward the story and also hints toward solving some of the puzzles. And there's also some inventory items that have been restored that were not in the original game. But again, these are likely like the least favorite Tomb Raiders, for at least for fans in like the whole series. Angel of Darkness didn't. Neither of these games, I think, got good reviews when they came out. So yeah, we'll see if these fixes help improve like the feeling that these games gave back then, and we'll see what happens. Again, they come out on February 14 for all platforms. Another games that we have more games that could be remastered, and that's now with Resident Evil, and we still have to hear from Capcom about Resident Evil 9, but in the meantime it seems like they're going to go back and remaster more stuff for current gen. So we got, I think, back in 2022 they released a remaster, or not remasters, new versions for Resident Evil 2, 3, and 7 on PS5 and Xbox Series, and we got these versions for those releases in December last year for most of the regions, and they are supposed to be launched in January for the US. Now, the other games in the series, like the PS3 games and other the GameCube games that were remastered, we didn't get any PS5 ports for that, and now there's been new listings on the SRB for the Resident Evil Origins collection. That's Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil 1, the remake that was later remastered on PS3, 360, PS4, and Xbox One as well. There's also the original Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 7 that have received these new listings on the ESRB website. So they have been rated for both Xbox and Xbox Series, which already has these games, but they are the Xbox One version that is playable on Xbox Series. And they are also rated for Switch, and it likely means that it's for Switch too, because these games are already on Switch as well. So it seems that with the release of Switch 2, Capcom is gonna take the advantage to like re-release all of these games on all platforms with, I don't know, improvements maybe in terms of 4K resolution and, I don't know, faster load times, and I don't know, maybe some of that. So yeah, we're likely getting remasters for Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 4, the original, and Resident Evil 6 that are going to be playable, or PS5 versions, and maybe Resident Evil 5 as well is gonna get its own PS5 version, and also for Xbox Series and likely Switch 2. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit. Maybe we'll learn about them when the Switch announces its lineup. Maybe they are gonna be releasing these improved versions for when the Switch 2 comes out, and likely at the same time for PS5 and Xbox Series. So we'll see. Now let's move into some additional news in terms of sales. Last week we got the reveal of how Europe did in terms of like sales for games and sales in terms of hardware, and we got the top 20 games, the top 20 best-selling games of the region. So overall software only grew by 1% compared to 2023. It didn't do that much in terms of growth. And on the number 20 we got Metro Exodus. Number 19 it was for Fallout 4, likely boosted by the TV, or pushed here by the TV series. Number 18 was Super Mario Party Jamboree. It was a new release last year. Then Super Mario Bros. Wonder, winding down from its release in 2023. Then Need for Speed Heat from EA. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, another new release from September last year. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege from Ubisoft. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, another new release in October. So you have there like games that were released by the end of the year, and they were able to climb into the top 20 for the whole year in Europe. Besides that, we have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, a game that has been We have had this Mario Kart for a long time, and we're finally gonna get a new one. Then Elden Ring likely bumped here at 11th place because there was a DLC released last year. And then we move to the top 10. We have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 at number 10, winding down from its release in 2023 because we were gonna get the new one. Then at number 9, It Takes Two. It's a game that you see like every time in the you could see every time in the chart during last year. Like Europe loves It Takes Two, and it seems like probably they're gonna do that with the next Case-like game. That they are gonna likely push it here to the top 10. Then we have The Crew 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, number 7. Helldivers 2 was at number 6. So the game released in I think it was April last year. It did really good for Sony, minus the only thing is that they made the PSN requirement, which brought a lot of people to refund the game and give like bad reviews and all of that. It was fixed and the requirement was removed, but maybe it would have ranked a little bit better if the whole controversy for that didn't happen. At number 5 we have Hogwarts Legacy. So it was the best-selling game in 2023, and it was still performing strong with getting up to number 5 here. At number 4 we have Grand Theft Auto 5. There are still people that have not played Grand Theft Auto 5. No, I think that it always sells a lot because people are getting the new shark cards that you get better deals if you get the full game. I don't know. There's something like that, and it's something that I've heard regarding the like how the game is still selling this much, and it's not backing down. Number 3 we had EA Sports FC24, winding down but still keeping strong despite the release of FC25. Number 2 there was Call of Duty Black Ops 6, the new release since October last year. So yeah, and number 1 is EA Sports FC25. So yeah, it was EA Sports FC25, I think, dominated every month after it came out. Maybe not the one where Call of Duty was released. And EA did pretty good. They had several games in the chart, and 2 of them in the top 3. So, and 2 of them soccer games. So, yeah, they did pretty good. Now, we also have the numbers for hardware, and they weren't that great, but still PS5 was able to keep the lead in Europe, with the Nintendo Switch being second and the Xbox being third. PS5 was coming from a shortage and in 2022, and in 2023 they sold a lot of units. It was like the record year in terms of like PS5 console ship. So it was very unlikely that they were gonna hit that again in 2024. The console was down 20% in terms of sales. But it's something that happened across the industry. Like console sales were not doing that great. The Switch was also down 15%. And there was also the Xbox Series at third, being down by 48%. Besides that, the lineup was kind of weaker last year. I don't mean that it was bad. Like, just when you compare it to like the previous year, there was no Spider-Man 2, there was no Zelda for Switch, there was no Baldur's Gate, and there was no new Diablo game. So all of that added to the fact that, well, console sales were not great last year. And that's why there's hope that Grand Theft Auto 6 revitalizes sales for these platforms, and that means that more people will jump from PS4 and Xbox One to the respective platforms, PS5 or Xbox Series, or if they want to jump to a different ecosystem or something. And there's also hope for the Switch to bring people from Switch 1 and continue the sales trend that they had when the Switch came out. So there's a lot of hope for console sales to be better this year with these two releases, Switch 2 and Grand Theft Auto. If Grand Theft Auto 6 is able to launch for both PS5 and Xbox Series by the end of the year, because it could also be delayed to 2026, which would likely be disastrous. There's some good games released for this, like in the lineup for this year, on all platforms, I believe, and we still have to learn about the lineup for Switch 2. But the one that would be would allow for the industry to report more growth is likely GTA6, and we're gonna touch about that in just a few. So console sales are down. It seems like PC sales are doing a lot better. Now, this is an article from PC Gamer that it was a report from Matthew Ball, and he's from the investment firm Epilion, I think is that how you pronounce the name. So he released a lengthy report for the state of video gaming in 2025, and when I say lengthy, it's like 200 slides or something like that. So what the PC Gamer article says is that, according to the analysts, both PC and console gaming are... Okay, let me read that again. According to the analysts, both PC and console gaming are, as you may have noticed, considerably bigger concerns than they were at the turn of the 2010s. In 2024, consumers were spending almost $50 billion more on PC and console games than they were in 2011. Now, like at the beginning of 2021, console gaming growth started to slow, which is particularly clear in worldwide Xbox Series and PS5 console sales. Now, and that compared to the previous console generation, the current Microsoft and Sony console lines had 49 months and sold nearly 7 million fewer systems. Now, he continues and he says that while console has stagnated since 2021, PC gaming revenue has grown by 20%. Now, why is it that PC is selling better than console games? He says that there are many advantages to the ecosystem, like there's a more extensive library with a greater backward compatibility and more immediate access to web browsers, social platforms, and live stream softwares, and higher top-end performance. Now, it seems like PC is still growing in terms of momentum, and that is also because of cross releases from console exclusives and some other advancements in portable PC gaming devices like the SteamOS and also games like Roblox, which has hundreds of millions of children growing up on Roblox, and that kind of consumer is not going to ask for a $500 console to play AAA games. So a lot of the kids are growing up with PCs, likely seeing their favorite streamer stream on PC with showing their rig and all of that. So yeah, it seems like PC is doing a lot better in terms of sales. I may add that there's also the prices of the games are different. So it seems like the PC is in this bright spot while the console is kind of suffering, and it has also brought companies to release their games on PC. Like Microsoft started doing it way back in the Xbox, in the beginning of the Xbox One gen, and now Sony is releasing all of their games on PC, trying to get more people to grow the fan base of those games for when they release the next game in the series. So yeah, I do agree with what he's saying. There's also the fact of the new portable handhelds, which this year they have exploded on CES. There's the new Lenovo Legion Go, and we previously had the ROG Ally and the new Ally X. There's the Steam Deck, which still continues to do good. And it's a platform that I'm also kind of starting to play. I still prefer PlayStation, mostly because when I'm on PC, I usually relate that to work, and I'm not able to like sit and play. And there are other issues that I also don't like from PC, having to like, you can just start the game. When I started playing Indiana Jones when that came out, I got PC Game Pass and I wanted to start playing, and I had to be like more than 30 minutes tweaking stuff because like the frame rate was not great and it didn't look as great. So I have to start tweaking stuff, and it's something that I'm still not used to. So, but it's a platform that's I'm getting a little bit into. But I'm still into the PS5. I still prefer to grab a controller, turn the TV on, and know that the game's gonna work, and I don't have to be doing this stuff. But I'm also drawn into these new portable gaming systems, and with Sony releasing their games on PC, and likely they're gonna move to releasing their games day one on PC, even if they probably say that they are not. They did with Until Dawn, the remake. They released that, and again, it's a remake from a game that was launched like on PS4, but still they launched that there. And all they did the same with Lego Horizon, so they are testing the waters for when they are gonna jump fully into PC. So yeah, I am also drawn by these portable systems. I like the idea of having all of the library of PC games that I could take and play on the go, and then play them on like my PC after that. But again, for now I'm still drawn to like console gaming and all of that, and we'll see if PC continue. But like, it's a reality that PC is taking away market share because of like the kids growing up are playing more on PC. So it's something that also my nephew is like, he's playing on PC all the time. He loves playing on Switch as well, but most of the time he's on PC playing with friends. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. And let me know what you guys think about this report. Do you think that like the report is right, that more people are playing on PC nowadays, or do you still prefer to play on console? Let me know about that in the comments. And there's still another story regarding the same report, and it has to do with Grand Theft Auto 6, because it seems like this analyst has also high hopes for the game to be around $100. So again, it's a lengthy report, and what he says is that the industry has stagnated. Is mostly investing hours on the same games. Which is mostly live service stuff, your Call of Duties, your Fortnites, and all of that. There's also GTA, and he also feels that the impact from GTA will be mixed because it's only on console and not on PC. But it's still like one of the things that people are like, analysts are waiting for this game to help growth in the industry, is that it should drive sales for both PS5 and Xbox Series when the game comes out, hopefully in 2025. Now, what he says there is that publishers are hoping that Grand Theft Auto, that Take-Two will release the game and be bold enough to make it at least between $80 to $100, so that other games could also rise in price by another $10, so that $40 games could be $50, 50 could be 60, and 60 could those that have not moved to $70 will do that, and $70 will move to 80. So every bracket, every price bracket would move $10 because of this. Or at least he hopes that this is what happens when the game comes out. If Take-Two makes it or prices it at $100. Another thing that he mentions in this lengthy article is that game prices have not been as low as they are now, and that's taking into account the real prices. And what he has is a graph there that shows that game prices were close to $200 back in the 1980s, and now they are just $70. And while prices are down, the development costs have skyrocketed, and there's this race to having high fidelity, huge open world games that drives these budgets like crazy. They are like up to $300 million or even more, and that's due to like workforces they have to give better salaries to their workforce, better like game engines and tools if they have to rework them, or they are licensing stuff, like marketing and distribution deals, and also game complexity and all of that. But let's get into that a little bit, because like we're still processing the $10 increase that happened 2020, that PlayStation raised prices, and most of the industry followed through. Some developers took a little bit more time than others or some publishers took a little bit more time than others to have this new price bracket, but most of them ended up adopting it. But is it really translating to better salaries for developers? I kind of don't think so. It's mostly, and if it is, it has also made companies to like have more layoffs. We hear about game studios closing every now and then, and layoffs constantly in the industry. The performers are usually on strike because they are not being paid well, and they also have the risk of losing their jobs to AI. So yeah, it's a pretty broad picture of what's happening there, but I think the $10 increase that happened in 2020 is still not translating to the projects. And again, we have received great games and all of that, but yeah, I don't think that I'm feeling that I'm getting an additional $10 worth of like the new games. And I love some of the projects that we have been getting, and I have paid $70 on release for several games, but yeah, I still don't agree with the $70 pricing. I don't know. I think I'm more of the idea, or I agree more with Sean Layden, the former PlayStation president, that games should be shorter, and they shouldn't be following this high fidelity thing. Like we have been having games like Balatro last year that was not hyper realistic. We got Astro that it had great graphics, but it's not something overly hyper realistic either. I think like art direction trumps fidelity, or like it's better to focus on art style than fidelity. And I wish that we were back on the PS3 generation, where games were linear and they are not these open world games that are struggling for your time, and they want you to spend like over 200 hours. And I still love some of those games. I spent 200 hours on The Witcher 3. I have over 140 hours on Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and trying to catch up before Shadows comes out. And I do love some of those games, but I don't want to be playing them all of the time. I still want those linear adventure games that used to be there used to be many during the previous generations. So yeah, I don't think, and I don't agree with this analyst here saying that games should be increasing price again. I don't know if it's something that could happen during the next generation. Maybe it's something that, and it would suck because games were like $60 for a long time. I think they were $50 from up to the PS2 generation, and then they went up to 60 after the 360 came out, and then to 70 now with the PS5. So back-to-back increase in price sounds insane. I would agree more to that if I saw that developers were getting treated better, and also like voice performers were treated better, but there are issues in the industry that needs to be solved. Now there's also Bad Piscatella from Circana doesn't agree with this, and what he explains is that well, the article was getting a lot of run, but it's ridiculous. Like, there's no need to make the base price of any game $100, because publishers will also release special editions, collector's editions, gold or silver editions, that we are gonna try to cover that. Special editions usually, like, they are like $200 or even more, and there's a lot of people that get those, and that that helps with their elevated revenue. The elevated price help with the revenue and to cover the need to raise the prices to up to $100. So what he says is that there's just no need to do that, and because like Grand Theft Auto 5 didn't make all of the money just because of the, like, just with the $60 price. GTA 5 made most of the money with GTA Online after it came out, and all of the additional stuff, the microtransactions, the shard cards, and all of that. That's how Grand Theft Auto 5 has made its money, and with also the constant remasters and all of that. So you want to make, what he says is that you want to make the funnel as wide as possible. You want people to be able to get the game and jump into the game, and so that they could also start spending on additional microtransactions and the shard cards and all of that. You don't do this by making the base price of a game so high that the funnel narrows. It just makes no sense at all. And I agree with that. Like, it's how free to play games make money, but also paid games. Again, GTA 5 did most of the success for Grand Theft Auto, and how much it has managed to do, or Grand Theft Auto 5, and how much it has managed to do in terms of revenue for Take-Two. It has to do with all of the stuff that people get after they get the game. So again, I don't agree with $100 being needed for the game. I don't think the game need to be priced at $100. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's not something that we have to deal on the next generation of games becoming that expensive, or even another increase in price. But let me know what you guys think about this whole story. Do you think that you would pay up to $100 for Grand Theft Auto 6? It's a game that would be quality. Like, it's like Rockstar is sure to deliver a high quality game, and a game that will be lengthy in terms of content. And I can see how some people would pay up to $100, but that's why, as Matt Piscatella says, there's the collector's edition for anyone who wants to pay even more than what they are being asked up front for, like, the standard edition. I also ask you guys, you can tell me your opinion in the comments, or there's also the poll that I posted on the community tab, and so far it only has 20 votes, but 95% of you say that it's too expensive and games shouldn't cost that much. and 5% of you say that it's understandable but still a tough sell. I guess because of what I just said, that it's a game that will be quality and you will get hundreds of hours from that investment. But yeah, still $100 for a standard edition sounds a lot. 0% think that this pricing is fair. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And there we go, that's it for today's episode of PlayStation News. Let me know what you guys think about all of the stories that we talk about here, including the new stuff about the PS6 SoC being ready and that we could start hearing about PS6 coming soon. What do you think about the cancellation for the two projects from Sony Bend and also from Bluepoint Games? What do you think about the future for PlayStation in this sort of identity crisis that they have? And what do you think about all of the other stuff, like all the top 10 for Europe? Did your favorite game chart in that top 10? And what do you think about PC games outselling console games, and the fact that there's analysts and people in the industry that may want Grand Theft Auto 6 to launch and cost $100? So let me know about that in the comments below. Again, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and also giving a thumbs up, as it helps the channel a ton. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.